Your local forecast is brought to you by the TD First Class Visa Card.
Stay tuned to the Weather Network. Your national, regional, and long-range forecasts are coming up next.
This local forecast has been brought to you by the TD First Class Visa Card. Use your TD points to pay for any travel with the TD First Class Visa Card.
I'm Nicole Karkic alongside Gary Archibald for your evening edition forecast. And coming up, we'll talk about the stormy weather. Where is it headed for the weekend? Well, for southern Ontario, it's also going to feel sticky. The humidity is on the rise. And we'll talk about the flooding rains that we've been seeing for the prairies over the last few days. And in that long-range forecast, we'll get you through the Sunday. And, of course, it's Father's Day. How does it look across the country? We have those details in just a few minutes from right now, so stick around for that. Thanks again for being with us. And we have lots of weather stories to talk about. And in terms of the rains, over the last few days, the prairies have been hit really hard. And we still have a warning that we're looking at with some lingering showers in through southern Alberta. For Cypress Hill, we could be seeing an additional 2 to 5 centimeters, but in through southern Alberta, right just indicated there, in through the provincial park, we could be seeing, like I mentioned, an additional 5 millimeters. But the bulk of the heavy rains have already fallen, and in through southern Saskatchewan today, we saw close to 100 millimeters of rainfall. And of course, because of that, they had to close down the Trans-Canada Highway in certain sections around southern Saskatchewan as well as Alberta. Now, to give you an indication of what it looked like, if you weren't there, Tim, thank you so much for sending this in. You can see people just struggling to get through those flooded roads. I mean, you're not going to be pumping any gas at that gas station unless you take off your shoes or you're wearing rain boots, because it's probably up to your knees in water. And in terms of the wet weather, Gary, I mean, we're continuing to see with this low pressure system that it's just been such a slow mover, which is why it's caused all this rain. It's now pushing into southern Manitoba.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the notion of time, Nicole. You're absolutely right about that, because weather is multidimensional and time's a factor. An area of low pressure is wound up and as intense as this one that brought those rains and the evidence from the video in Kindersley and the like. It just hovered over the one area for the most part over an extended period of time. That's why we saw the flooding. And more of the same. It's a slow mover. It is drifting eastward bound towards northwestern Ontario, but it's still drawing some moisture up into southern Manitoba, southeastern Manitoba, extreme northwestern Ontario. And on the reverse side of it, of course, it's still pounding away. Cypress Hills Provincial Park, Cypress Hills proper, East End, grasslands, you get the idea. Shaunavon got over 100 millimeters of rainfall, so you get the idea. Swift currents into the rains. And note right in here, Lake of the Woods area, Fort Francis, more rains for you this evening. Wouldn't be surprised to see 10 to 20 millimeters of rainfall there for your Saturday. We have a huge, expansive swath of yellow to indicate scattered, non-severe thunderstorms, but in southern Saskatchewan, there's a chance of seeing some isolated severe ones, nasty downpours, strong gusty winds. And speaking of which, we're looking at this huge squall line pushing through Michigan, which will end up later this evening, your time, say, between 9 and 10 p.m. in southwestern Ontario for our friends in Windsor and Sarnia. There's our map for this evening and for tomorrow with the humidity values up and rainfall with thunderstorms abroad.
This long-range forecast is brought to you by Intact Insurance.
Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers, coast to coast, across this great country of ours. To lead off the long range, we look at Sunday, which is Father's Day. Hope you can enjoy it wherever you are and no matter what the weather. Mild conditions, still some showers and thunderstorms associated with this dip in the jet stream. A little kink here, a trough, and we'll continue to see it progress a little bit eastward across the prairies. That's for Alberta and the BC interior. Starting to dry out at least for the Sunday, Father's Day, across the prairies, but more rains on the way. Hot and humid across the Great Lakes and still unsettled for the Maritimes, and the low that brings showers from the Maritimes scoots into eastern portions of Newfoundland. In fact, the whole island will get into some rains there. Still warm and humid. Watch out for thunderstorms Sunday and Monday across the Great Lakes. And there's those rains, drenching rains across the prairies. And BC's windy and cool for the next couple of days. We'll still see wet conditions for our friends in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. That's how the long range works.
This long-range forecast has been brought to you by Intact Insurance.